Hey y'all, let's do a Q&A. I haven't done one of these in a long time. So I want to do a Q&A with you guys. As y'all guys come in, make sure you put your questions below. If you come onto this and watch this video later, still post your questions below because I still want to answer your questions. But I will like kind of prompt and kind of talk about some of the common questions I typically get about the herpes diagnosis that a lot of people kind of like want to ask, scared to ask, or been online looking to. So, hi. Today we're gonna have a Q&A time. So ask me whatever you want to ask pertaining to the HSV virus. All right. So most people always ask me, when you first, hey love, when you first find out, how do you deal with the diagnosis? Like, what do you do? First thing I always tell people is allow yourself to feel. Okay. Allow yourself to get the emotions out because you're in absolute shock. Like you're not really you never thought you would be here. Like truthfully, nobody's waking up every day and like, oh yeah, one day I'm gonna get herpes and I am gonna know how to deal with it. No, absolutely not. So you really want to allow yourself to get the initial shock out of yourself, get the emotions out, let everything just come on out. All right. Other than trying to like, okay, now what I do now, like trying to rush off to get all the information, that'll overwhelm you, and it will open it'll overwhelm you fairly fast because at the end of the day, you're still dealing with the initial shock. And sometimes you just can't hear when you're in shock mode. We all have been in that situation where somebody tell you something and they're trying to tell you the rest of the story, but you're like, whoa, 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 what did you just say? That is typically what happens to most people when they find out their herpes diagnosed. They're kind of in that, give me a minute, let me process what you said. So give yourself a minute to process what you said, all right? The next question that I typically get is, can you have a normal sex life? And when they say normal sex life, can you do all sexual activity? Yes, you can, all right? That is not an issue at all. It does not affect your organs to a fact where they stop working or anything like that. No, your organs work just fine, all right? Next thing people ask me is that, do I always have to use a condom? Now, when it comes to condoms, you have to understand that condoms are not 100%. All right, they're not 100% at all right? Because most, as we know, herpes is transmitted through skin to skin contact. So most people, wherever the outbreaks is, the condom typically do not cover that area. Okay, so you also have to consider, just with using condoms, it's not going to guarantee that it's reducing the chance of transmission. As much as we hear it, we just have to understand how the virus work for you to understand that a condom is not 100%. Now, I'm not telling you not to use a condom, because a condom is also going to prevent, pregnancy, and also prevent other STIs that it needs to protect you from: gonorrhea, chlamydia, HIV, things like that. That's for darn sure. Uh, um, a condom will help you for, or even trick, depending on where it's located. Sometimes trick can be skin to skin too. So you do want to take that in consideration, that you still want to use condoms to protect you from other STIs, but just know herpes is not one that is a guarantee that is going to protect you from. All right. So with that information, people are like, well, how do I prevent transmission? The biggest thing is learning how to manage it, all right? That's the biggest thing. I want y'all to go back to the video that I had, is no HSV, and that kind of breaks down everything you need to know, because when you don't know things, that's what increases transmission more than anything. The lack of knowledge is what's really putting you at risk of transmitting the virus, not of the virus per se. It's because you just don't know how it functions. So when you know how it functions, number one, the manual way of how it functions, book by book on how it functions, and then how it functions in your body and how you want to manage it, then that reduces the chance of transmission. Okay. Next question people always ask me is it a guarantee that I will not pass it to nobody? No, nothing's a guarantee that you will not pass. Okay, I wish we had that, but it's no guarantee. Even if you take antivirals, which is really the only way that we can confirm based off stats that will reduce transmission, it only will reduce it to, I think, like 2%. I say 2 to 4%, like something like that. All right, but at the end of the day, we have to realize 2 and 4% is still numbers. Okay, it ain't zero. All right, it's not zero at all. But I will tell you, most people are transmitting the virus because they just simply don't know they have it, or simply don't know how the virus function. Most of us end up getting herpes, possibly for somebody who had no clue they had herpes. Okay, so we also need to take that into consideration, that when you do have it and you're aware of it, you're way more cautious than an individual who doesn't know it all. All right, many people in the community that I have served and helped and supported, most of them, if they have ever passed the virus on, it's because they did not know. Okay, not simply because they do. Most of them did not know how it functioned. Most of them did not have outbreaks at all. Did not know what their outbreaks looked like at all. Things like that. Um, so that's something to take consideration of. The next thing is, when do you disclose? Now, I tell you guys, there's nothing wrong with disclosing when you first start talking to somebody. Okay, no problem. It's nothing wrong with disclosing when you first meet somebody, like on your first date or a couple of dates, 3, 4, 5 dates down the line. It completely depends on you. All right. I don't want you to get so caught up in that. One thing I do want you to get caught up in is not being sexually active, intimate with this person before you disclose. That is where you'll get a lot of your backlash from. Is that you decided to kiss that person. Do any type of funneling, any type of sexual activities without telling them. Just because you quote unquote don't feel like you have an outbreak is not a green flag to go ahead and have sex with them. That is not correct. That is not right. You need to give that person an option to know, if they want to move forward or not. Because people are doing that as well. Well, I ain't had no outbreak, so I can have sex with them. No, they ain't said that it was okay with your status. So you do want to also make sure that whenever you decide to do it, you can do it as soon as you meet them, and you feeling like y'all are making a connection, and you want to tell them in the beginning, or you could tell them a couple of dates down the line after you determine, okay, I see how we're going, I see where this going, I see that we're on the same page, and then tell them it's up to you. All right. So I don't want y'all to get caught up on the time frame. I really just want you to be very much aware that you don't need to do anything sexual or even engage in any real sexual activity or conversations until you're ready to have that conversation. Next thing people always ask me is, how do I tell them? My whole thing is, don't make it so complicated. All right. The more you make it complicated, the chances are you will not do it. So you just want to simply tell them, hey, we're getting to know each other. We're feeling each other, but I want to share with you that I have blah 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 blah. Just that simple, y'all. We really don't want to make it complicated. You know where it gets complicated is when you don't have the information that you need when they start asking you questions, okay? So they're going to start asking you follow up questions. You need to understand how the virus works for your body. You need to know if you're on any treatment and what treatment is working for you. You need to know those things, because if not, the person's not going to feel as confident as you want them to possibly feel because you're not educated on the virus. You need to be educated on the virus for your body and for yourself, all right? So simply just go out and say it. Don't make it so fancy. Don't make it so long and draw it out. Get to the point. Okay, because people are gonna ask you the question they want to know. Most people in the community overshare. It's really useless. I'm not gonna lie to you. You telling them your long drawn out story is not even worth it at times because they really don't care. Okay, most people are really, especially the time we're in now. When I first started, people care about stories. They care about situations, things like that. That's not the case anymore. Most people will not. They can care less in a sense. They kind of just want to know you have it, and then they want to know the story. They'll ask. I say really just give them the information and then allow them to ask you what they want to know, other than you giving them all this information and then you still feel like you're going through this thing of answering all these questions. Just tell them that you have the status and leave it at that. And then I ask you how long that you have it, have you passed, just be honest. Tell the truth. It makes you feel better. It's not per se about them. It's about you feeling confident in yourself that I can share this information and give this person an opportunity that I possibly did not receive. Most people are getting herpes from somebody that they did not know had the virus, and they also didn't have the opportunity to choose if they want to be with somebody who had it or not. So please give other people the opportunity to choose if they want to be with somebody or not. I'll let you know, as more people who are dealing with people who have herpes than you know. You just won't know because most people are still dealing with the stigma of it. People don't want other people in their business. They don't want to have to argue with people. Why would you want to be with a person? Blah blah blah. So you just got to know that a lot of people are just not going to stand on a platform or tell you that they are dating a girl or dating a guy or married to somebody or have children with somebody who have herpes. They just not gonna tell you that. But, and on top of that, they may be comfortable with it, but their partner may not be. So that's another thing where some partners like, we cool, I'm okay with us, knowing within here, but don't tell nobody because I don't want nobody in our business. And I don't feel like it's anything wrong with that because they know the people in their circle. They know how people act around them. And sometimes the fight of trying to get somebody else to understand why you chose a person is more frustrating than you just accepting it and y'all move forward in y'all relationship. Okay. The next thing people ask me all the time is, do you need to tell people like family and friends? No, that's not necessary to tell them. Now, I'm a strong believer in you should tell somebody that's close enough to you so you have a support system, somebody who know you before the virus, no, before the status, so now you feel like you still can stay grounded in who you were. prior and things like that. So I say it's nothing wrong with telling a friend. You ain't got to tell every friend. Tell the one that you know you can trust, the one that you feel comfortable with, or the family member, and go for there. It's not necessary to sit your whole family down and tell everybody. You don't have to tell that. And if you don't feel comfortable with telling any of them, that's fine. But you do need to get to a place where you're in a support group and having support that you need. Because when you don't tell nobody at all, you feel very much alone, and that's the struggle for a lot of people where they're feeling alone because they don't feel comfortable with telling anybody close to them. So I say get into a support group. That's going to help you tremendously, where you can have that support that you need, and also around people who understand what you're going through. Okay, so the next thing is people ask, can you pass it through like toilets, towels, things of that nature? No, that's not really how the virus work at all. It's other like trichomoniasis. Truthfully, y'all, if y'all don't know, it can be passed through towels, and things like that. But herpes is not that. It's typically passed through skin to skin contact. Now, the only time that it could possibly be passed through an item is like lip balm or drinking after somebody or utensils, and that's only if that person is having a physical outbreak and they're having some of the fluid come out and it can go onto the utensil. But the chances is still kind of a give and take. It's up in the air if that's the case. So I'll tell anybody, if you have oral outbreaks, be very careful when you're having a physical outbreak that you can see and also that has fluid coming out of it, not to share items with people at that time because they do put them at risk of contracting the virus. And that's the only time it's really the case when it comes to sharing items. And that's with oral. The next thing some people ask me is, dang, um, do you have to take the antivirus? I mean, do you have to take the antivirals? No, you do not. You do not have to take antivirals at all. It's not a requirement. Nothing will happen to you if you don't take them. Okay, that's a good question. A lot of people get me there like, do I have to take them? Because some people don't feel comfortable with taking medication. Some people also have other conditions that they're kind of concerned if it's going to, clash with their other medication and things like that. But I feel like if you want to take your antivirals, always talk to the pharmacist. They're the best person to talk to. Your doctors are great, but I'm telling you, the pharmacists are people you want to talk to when it comes to drugs or medication. You want to talk to them because they know more than your doctors. Your doctors just prescribe it. Your pharmacists are the ones who know what you can and cannot take. I'm gonna stress this. Your pharmacists know what you can and cannot take together. So if you have any questions and you do not even have taken the antivirus, you can go in and simply say, hey, can I talk to a pharmacist and pull them to the side and ask them, hey, I have this other condition. I'm thinking about taking this medication. Is that okay to take? And they would literally give you a simple yes or no. And then you can go and ask your doctor to give you a prescription for it. So that's something else to let you know that you don't have to feel like you got to pay to go to the doctor to get that answer. You can go to the pharmacist of any pharmacist and they will simply answer that question for you fairly quickly, okay? Um, so it's not a requirement to take it at all. Also, I want to say some people ask me if I'm on the antivirals, will I stop having outbreaks? That's not true. That's not true for everybody. Some people will literally still have outbreaks on that antivirals, and some people will absolutely not. If you are having outbreaks on your antiviral, chances are it's being triggered consistently. And literally, you need to learn what that is because the trigger is stronger than an antiviral. So if you learn what's triggering it, then you're able to reduce your outbreaks, not just with the antiviral, but it would assist with the antiviral. So what are triggers? The next thing that comes to that is triggers. Triggers are stress, any psychological distress. So dehydration, any type of trauma towards the body. So that could be like internal, external, any type of sicknesses, stuff like that can cause the body to trigger, so your low immune system or attack onto your immune system. The next thing is exposure to sun. So some people like too much sun could trigger their skin. It just irritates their skin. Friction from different clothing or even during sex or just rubbing of skin or rubbing against items can cause it to happen. Some people certain foods, so arginine, so that could be nuts, peanuts, all types of nuts, peanuts, alcohol, things of that nature that can cause it to flare. Also, caffeine for some people can also cause it to flare as well. So that's just something you need to take in consideration of. Remember, everybody trigger is not the same. So you do want to take the time to figure out what your triggers are. And that goes back to the video I was talking about with no HSV. You need to take the time to know it because what you don't know is going to hinder you for really knowing how to manage it and move through it. So take your time to figure out that you may not have any outbreaks at all. And if you do not have any outbreaks, stop bogging yourself out to get one. Basically, you're stressing yourself out hoping to get one. Secretly, you're kind of doing it and you don't realize it. You just want to know what it is, what it looks like. But my whole thing is, some of you guys will not. Some of you will not deal with any physical outbreaks. You won't have any itching. I mean, sorry, you won't have any bumps, blisters, cuts, anything like that. Some of you guys may just deal with a lot of aching in your legs. Some of you guys may have swollen lymph nodes, like in your neck and in your groin area. Some of you guys will just have ongoing tingling. Some people have an overall itching sensation. Some people have a little discharge. So some ladies have like this discharge. They have a smell to it. They really can't say what it is because it's not like yeast infection or bacteria or any other STI or but an infection. It's just an odd smell. Some people get headaches, some people have fevers, some people feel like they got a cold. So you do want to take that in consideration, that you may be having outbreaks, but you're looking for them to be cuts, bumps, and blisters, and that's not what it is. It's those other symptoms. I just want y'all to know herpes outbreaks are not just cut, bumps, and blisters. If you keep looking for that, then chances are you could be having more outbreaks than you know, and also you could be putting your partner more at risk of transmission because you just simply don't realize that the outbreaks can be other symptoms. All right, so take that in consideration. Why are you clapping for me?
I don't know.
Oh.
You do this every day.
Yeah, I've been doing a video a day. So what's another question, y'all? I'm trying to think. If y'all have any questions, please put the questions out. I'm trying to get every question out that I can think of right now. The next thing is, can you have children? Yes, you can have children with no problem with herpes. I had two children after my diagnosis with no problem. The baby is not a risk at all while you're already having the virus. Like, when you got the virus in your body, you ain't got no issues at all. Now, they are concerned if you contract the virus while the baby is in the womb. But at the end of the day, that has still have never been an issue that I have read or looked at, of you contracting the virus at the time. But most of you guys already have it, so that's one thing. But for my men who are with a young lady and she doesn't have it and you have it, this is something for you to also consider. Is when it comes to this situation, is that you need to be careful during this time if she doesn't have it and contracting when she's pregnant, because at the end of the day it just causes her to stress out more, and also she'll have to worry about that when it comes to labor. Okay, so that's where the concern comes in. And when it comes to labor, is that when it's time to give vaginal birth, you don't want to have any outbreaks. So if you have any symptoms, like going back to what I was saying, what symptoms look like, you need to tell your doctor ASAP. Because at the end of the day, you do not want to assume it's going to go away, and it may not go away. Your doctor needs to know. So if you need to schedule a cesarean, then you schedule a cesarean. Okay. So you when you get to 36 weeks, they'll put you on antivirals. You can also ask to go a little bit earlier, especially if you're having complications in your pregnancy, where you had preterm, or feel like your baby tends to come earlier, because you don't had kids before. So you can kind of gauge when your babies will come before, if you don't have multiple babies, or if you're not sure, or you don't have complications throughout the pregnancy, being bedridden and things like that. So that's also something you want to take into consideration of. It's like, hey, I take the antivirus earlier, so then I can protect the baby earlier, just in case if I go into labor earlier. All right. Now, another thing is, the doctors don't play. I'll tell you that they do not play about the baby coming in contact with herpes, okay, at all, because they know it's very dangerous. It can be very deadly, okay, because the baby cannot deal with that type of virus. It's very aggressive on the nervous system, and the baby simply don't. Their nervous system ain't even fully developed yet. So I mean, it's developed, but it's just not ready to fight that type of virus yet. So just know it can be deadly from that. But I'll let you know that doctors do not play about a baby contracting herpes through the birth canal. Now, if you talk to a doctor and they state like, hey, you're going to have to get a cesarean. Now, that's not required. Now, don't let a doctor push you into feeling like you have to get a cesarean, because you do not have to have a cesarean just because you have herpes. That's not a thing. You can do it if you feel like it. Like, I have a lot of girls who come to me and say, "Police, I just want peace of mind that my baby won't get it. I'll deal with outbreaks. I'm scared I'm going to have an outbreak at the end of my pregnancy. And, I don't want to have to worry about it last minute. I want to plan for my cesarean." And I'll say that for you. You don't if you're not sure if you're gonna have an outbreak or not, which you never are sure if you're gonna have an outbreak. I had an outbreak in both of my end of my pregnancies, but my babies came out fine. But at the end of the day, you if you not sure or you know you're not going to have the support if you don't plan for a cesarean, then I would say go ahead and set your mind to say you want a cesarean so you can start planning for it, prepare for it, get your body ready, your mind ready, because the cesarean take a toll on the body, y'all. It is a serious surgery. We don't want to add like a cesarean is not no serious surgery. It is a very serious surgery. You do need that. You need the support. You need the help. And you're gonna need to take the time to heal properly and need the support with helping with the baby as you're healing from the cesarean and take the necessary time off from the cesarean. So I'll tell you, if you kind of like, please, I want to have a baby, but I want to have a cesarean, I need you to take that in consideration. Do not take cesarean lightly, please, please. It is a bad thing.
Yeah.
Um, what?
I'm gonna go for a walk.
Okay, we're inside.
No, outside. I'm
Okay,
just
pay
gonna
attention to
walk
your
around.
surrounding.
I'm just walking around the
Take it. Pay
building.
attention to your surrounding.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Um. So that's one thing. I want to answer your question. Okay. Um. So that's something you just want to take into consideration. So do not plan for that. Please plan accordingly. Now, if you have to have an emergency cesarean, that's one thing. But at the end of the day, you do want to take into consideration. What if I have to have a cesarean? And I'll say that to any mommies at all that always planning just in case you got to have a cesarean and who's going to support you and help you through it. Because at the end, the cesarean ain't nothing to play with. It's a serious surgery. People making it seem light, but it's not light at all. But you can request that if you want, but don't feel like it's a requirement. If a doctor says it's a requirement, that is something they want to do there. And if you don't feel comfortable, then find a doctor, another doctor do it, which I would suggest go to a midwife, and they will support you in that in there because their whole goal is for you to have a vaginal birth and support you. Do a vaginal birth. Or simply ask a doula, which you can find somebody to assist you in supporting finding somebody to help you have that successful vaginal birth, which is helping you relax and get prepared for the baby. Which most people who are pregnant, they just get stressed. You're stressed, depending on how the situation is, what's going on with you and the other parent. And also just the ups and downs of being pregnant. You know, you're dealing with a lot of hormones and things like that. So just take all that in consideration. Somebody have a question. Hello, I was wondering, has anyone experienced super bad breath with herpes? I have terrible bad breath that I didn't have before. This sounds like a simple thing. I have tried everything. Thank you. No, I have never heard of that. I have not. That's the first time I've heard of that. I'm gonna ask you a couple questions. Have you went to your dentist? Okay. Question. Have you went to the dentist? I would say do not continue to go to the doctors. The doctors are not the best people. Don't go to your primaries. They're not the people to go to. Go to your dentist and talk to the dentist office because at the end of the day, they deal with oral. Okay, and most doctors, and I ain't even ever seen that as a symptom, a general symptom. Remember, most of the general symptoms that we see is what's in these books or what's on Google. That's the same information. Yes, all the time. Okay, what did your dentist say? Okay. But that's not. I mean, it is weird for you to find out after your step your herpes diagnosis that now you're experiencing that. And also, do you have oral herpes? That's another question I want to ask you as well. All right. Um, I'll let you know, guys. Some of you guys will experience just like this individual right here that will experience different type of symptoms. I really want you guys to know that you can have all types of symptoms that's just not textbook. All right, and I will let you know that sometimes it's gonna be frustrating because you're the only one, um, or you're the one who is experiencing that. That may be the reason. That may be. And this is just me kind of coming off the dome and kind of thinking it out that you may be experiencing more outbreaks than you know because it's oral. So now you want to take some time to do more internal work. And when I say internal work, you want to change your diet, more alkaline diet. You want to take supplements, so your lysines, your black seed oils, your zinc, your vitamin C, things like that, because you want to work within. Because at the end of the day, the mouth is very important. But my whole thing, to work with the mouth, you're going to have to do internal things to support that mouth oral health. So that's the only thing I can say to you that kind of supports you in that. So see if that works, but internal. So heavy changes of the diet, And I'm not telling you not to eat no meat. I'm just like increase your vitamins. Also, my dentist just tell me to brush, floss, and stay away from sweets. Um, that too. But if you have internal, like your outbreaks are inside your mouth, that could just to be a symptom that is literally you're having more outbreaks. So I would say try internal things because a lot of these doctors just simply don't know. Y'all remember these people are practicing medicine. They don't know everything. They're not all knowing. So a lot of this stuff is a learning curve. So you just want to try that and take your time and figure out exactly what the case is. Also, I would say work on gut health too, because sometimes oral, if you have a smelly breath, sometimes it's not the mouth, it's your gut, and it's coming through the gut. So also that's something to take in consideration with as well, making sure your gut health is well, which you can do like changing up the diet to help you with gut health. So hopefully that help you through that. But yes, like I said, most people are having. Some of you guys will have different symptoms that other people do not have. You're not crazy, okay? Just like this individual here who was, asking this question, which was an amazing question. You're not tripping. You're not crazy. You know what you experienced after your diagnosis and things like that. Yes, chances are it could be attached, or it could be two things happening at one time and you don't realize it. But do not ignore it and don't get frustrated. And I know it's not easy, but don't get frustrated when sometimes a doctor just don't know, because you're not the typical person who have the same day-to-day symptoms. Okay, so you just have to change some things up. And I'll say anytime you're dealing with any different type of symptoms with herpes, internal work is most important. Start changing your diet, start adding supplements, things of that nature. Getting more sleep, drinking more water, things like that. Because at the end of the day, the virus is in the nervous system. All right, it's not per se the immune system. But at the end of the day, as you're working on internal things, now your body starts settling out, and the virus stop like kind of flaring itself up. Okay. I hope I answered. I'm trying to think of any other questions. I'm trying to turn it down, Joe. Turn it down, turn it down, turn it down, turn it down. Um, I'm trying to think of any other questions, y'all. I think I answered every freaking thing that I could think of. Okay, you just started drinking alkaline water. That's good. Also, you can drink spring water too. That's a good one. Coconut water is a good one. Alkaline water good, spring water is good, but you also want something that's more hydrating. So that's right now watermelon is in, um, cucumbers, coconut water, things like that to make sure you're being fully hydrated. And you can eat your hydration too. You can eat certain things, cucumbers, certain things that's going to make sure you're hydrated too. Because sometimes a lot of us are just dehydrated, super duper dehydrated, and you don't realize it. Um, I think I answered all the questions, though. I think I answered all the questions. This was really good. I hope this helps somebody. So if you know anybody who have HSV, herpes, and been looking for answers, this video is the video to show them so they can get all these basic questions answered quickly, and they know the answers to them. Um, Oh, this is another thing. You can breastfeed with herpes. Like if you're a woman who have herpes, you can breastfeed with no problem. That's not an issue at all. It's not going to come through the breast milk. That's not something to worry about. Another thing that people will say, when you have oral or you have a baby, please don't let people kiss your baby, because oral to a baby, like literally herpes and people kissing on their baby, it can be deadly. Okay, we have seen many articles on that. So please make sure, if you even have oral, or you're not quite sure if anybody, make sure you make that very vital. No kissing your baby, especially in the infant stage. And when I say infant stage, under 4 in a sense, because their immune system is still growing. So make sure you're not kissing on them or letting other people kiss on them, because at the end of the day, their body, that literally can cause a whole uproar in their body and possibly unalive them. And we don't want that, y'all. We don't want that. So please take that in consideration. You're welcome. Um, Let me think another one. I think that's everything. That's all I can think of. Also, last thing is if you need any additional support, then you can reach out to me at www.vanquishcare.com. I have sessions that you can take advantage of. I also have Vanquish Care products, which is all topical products to help you through your outbreaks. The ultimate bundle is the best bundle to go through. Okay, and it's going to give you a cream, a soap, and a itch be gone spray, so it can help you through your outbreaks as you're learning how to manage your outbreaks internally. All right. So all of that stuff is going to be below. I love you guys. I appreciate you guys. As y'all know, I started my podcast. So make sure y'all go over and listen to the 2 episodes I have so far on the podcast. And that's going to be below as well. And we'll be talking tomorrow. Bye.